But isn't it interesting, Your Grace, how your grandparents, and going back, they may not have read much of the Bible directly, and yet they were more likely to stay faithful to their marriages. They were more likely to participate, to be sacramentally alive. They were more likely to tithe to the church, etc., have kids, be open to life. All these markers of Catholic identity. I'm not that optimistic that just getting people to read more is going to get them to be more. You're not just saying that in a kind of blunt or crass way, but it seems to me there's a lot that the word is obviously central, but there's a lot of it's like a beautiful cheese, but it needs the right display. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that a heresy?
Play with it, see where it goes.
So, in other words, what we need is Catholic culture, and that's the thing that fell away post-Vatican II. It wasn't on the, interesting, the Vatican Council, it's this grandiose event, the largest church event ever in world history, 3,000 participants at its height, and almost nothing is said in the documents about culture. Interestingly, about evangelization. Okay? Evangelization is not on the radar, nor is Catholic culture. I think there are sensible reasons for why that isn't. The main topic, arguably, is the church. That's most people who study the council will say, yeah, that's probably the key document, and Gaudium et Spes reflects on that. Anyways, however, even during Paul VI's life, so just a couple years after, he starts publishing. He publishes something where he says, you know what? We don't need to think about the church. We need to think about something called the new evangelization. And that enters into the vocabulary of the church, just off the heels of Vatican II. John Paul II then devotes his papacy to that, and by the end he writes an encyclical just before year 2000. He says, every synod that has happened, any major church gathering since Vatican II, should be interpreted as promoting the new evangelization. So all of a sudden, this becomes the forefront push. My guess is that the reason for that, I think this is it's a good topic. Why that shift? Is because what was going on at Vatican II, the cultural conditions that were present up to Vatican II shifted all of a sudden radically through the 60s, and almost no one saw it coming. So that's the world we're living in, is the condition where a culture where the conditions have totally shifted. So mom and dad, they're not present. More than one out of two teenagers don't live with mom and dad. And all the studies tell you if mom and dad break up, they're much less likely to go to church. The kids are. If the dad doesn't go to church, the kid is much less likely to go to church. Yep. So all these cultural, these building blocks that we could kind of assume were there, like boys and girls being boys and girls. Poof, that's gone. You say that now and you're going to lose your job. As just happened a couple weeks ago at the U of A. So the word, supported by a Catholic culture.
It's bringing me back, as you're talking about the new evangelization though, it's bringing me back to the concept of beauty. It's also bringing me to the concept of joy. All around the question, what attracts? If the gospel and the proclamation of the gospel and the celebration of the sacraments is no longer surrounded by and buttressed by a culture, how is that all best communicated? What attracts? Now we spoke a few minutes ago about beauty. I mean, of the three transcendentals, probably beauty is the one we can hope for the most right now, because truth is questioned, goodness, well, what's good? But beauty always attracts her. But the other, I think, is joy. Precisely because of those different cultural currents that you highlighted, joy is largely absent from people's lives right now. And people are looking for joy. And I go back to something Pope Benedict had said to, I believe it was the Brazilian bishops, about this whole issue of communicating effectively the gospel. And he said, it's not going to happen by proselytism. It's not going to happen just by putting out words, trying to convince, etc. It's going to happen through the witness of the joy of believers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it brings us back to the question of witness.
Yeah.
You know, do we truly appreciate that in the sacramental worship of the Church, we are encountering the one who alone is the source of our joy, in whom we do find joy?
Mm-hmm.
Is that being communicated?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This conversation, in one way or another, it just keeps powerfully underscoring the need for effective witness through beauty in our celebrations, through beautiful celebrations that transform one's life into one of radiant beauty, but also into one of radiant joy.
Absolutely.
That's what it drives us.